How many times have you said, "I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow, when I'm ready"? And meanwhile, time simply disappears. Minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into days. And days turn into that bitter taste of a cycle repeating itself. The same echo, the same dark room, the same weight on your chest. Procrastination is not just a delay. It's a ritual of self-destruction, a silent agreement you make with your own downfall. You wake up, but you don't get up. You think, but you don't act. You dream, but you don't build. Out there, the world keeps moving, but inside, there's only the muffled sound of everything you refuse to face. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you that destroys you, it's how you choose to respond." And every day, by choosing to delay, you're responding with avoidance, with fear, with surrender. Life doesn't wait. It keeps slipping, silent, relentless, indifferent. While you procrastinate, your life slips away through your fingers.
You don't procrastinate by accident. What you call laziness has deeper roots, older, darker. There's a part of you that's afraid to move forward, afraid to fail, afraid to try and realize you're not good enough, afraid to leave the comfortable cocoon of inertia and face the brutal weight of reality. Procrastination is not about lack of discipline. It's about fear of pain, fear of exposure, fear of confronting your own reflection. You don't lack discipline. You're drowning in doubt, insecurity, internal noise. Deep down, there's a constant whisper. What if I'm not capable? What if I try and fail miserably? What if everyone sees that I'm a fraud? So, you wait. You wait for the perfect moment. You wait for the right mindset. You wait for motivation to fall from the sky. But it never comes, because the problem is not time. It's your fear of what time will reveal about you. Epictetus once wrote, "What frightens you is not the future itself. It's the idea you have about it." And that's exactly what paralyzes you. Your mind builds a battlefield before you even take the first step. It convinces you that everything will go wrong, that the discomfort will be unbearable, that the effort will be pointless. So, you hide. You fill your day with distractions, social media, pointless tasks, anything that keeps you away from the only war that matters, the war against your own resistance. Procrastination is an invisible prison with bars made of distorted thoughts, walls built from anxiety, and locks forged from fear of failure. But the cruelest part is that the more you delay, the weaker you feel. The more your identity gets contaminated with the idea that you're incapable. The more you start believing in the narrative of defeat, the heavier the guilt becomes. And that pulls you even deeper into the cycle. Each day you let slip away, the abyss grows wider. The shadow grows denser. The rescue, more distant. Have you noticed how after days of procrastination, even the simplest task feels like a monster, an unscalable wall, an emotional death sentence? That's no coincidence. It's the psychological price of constant escape. It's the reflection of a man who's lost control over himself, who allowed his will to be hijacked by his fears. But here's a truth no one tells you. You won't wake up one day magically feeling ready. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Courage doesn't come before action. It's born during the process. Epictetus said, "No man is free unless he is master of himself." And right now, you are not the master. You're the hostage. Hostage of doubt. Hostage of comparison. Hostage of that inner voice, repeating day after day, "Leave it for later." But that later becomes never. And with every tomorrow that never comes, you're losing something you will never get back: the time of your life.
It always starts the same way. You open your eyes, and there's that brief, hollow silence. For a second, it feels like today might be different. A new beginning, a clean slate. But then, the weight returns, that familiar heaviness in your chest, like an invisible chain tightening around your ribs. You grab your phone. You scroll, mindlessly, mechanically, anything to avoid facing the void. Minutes dissolve, then hours. You tell yourself, just one more video, just a few more messages. I'll start after lunch. But lunch comes and goes. The sun moves across the sky. The light in your room changes. But you stay still, trapped in a loop between guilt and distraction, between anxiety and denial. You start making promises to yourself. At 3 p.m. I'll start. No, 4 p.m. Okay, after dinner. And as the day dies, so does your resolve. By the time night falls, you're left staring at the ceiling, staring at your own failure, the undone tasks, the unopened books, the messages you didn't reply, the workout you skipped, the dream you postponed, again. And there, in that darkness, a second battle begins. The battle of self-hatred, of internal blame, of those corrosive thoughts that whisper, "You're useless. You'll never change. You're broken." But the tragedy is that you've been here before. This isn't the first wasted day. It won't be the last. You know the script by heart. It's a ritual, a dark, silent ritual. You kill your own time, then mourn it, then repeat it all over again the next day. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." But you're not even willing to look foolish, because that would require you to act, to start, to stumble, to fail in public. So, you stay hidden, invisible, comfortably buried under your own fears. And here's the most brutal truth. It's not just time you're wasting. It's parts of yourself. Every wasted day is a small funeral for a version of you that could have existed. The strong you, the disciplined you, the courageous you, buried under layers of distraction, fear, and avoidance. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be different. But deep down, you don't believe it. Because change doesn't come from hope. It comes from friction, from resistance, from choosing in the middle of your weakness to act anyway. But today, once again, you didn't. And now the day is gone, irretrievable. irreversible, dead. And you're left with the cold, bitter silence of a life that keeps slipping through your fingers. One wasted day becomes a wasted week, then a month, then a year, until one day you wake up and realize that you've wasted your life.
It always starts the same way. You open your eyes, and there's that brief, hollow silence. For a second, it feels like today might be different. A new beginning. A clean slate. But then, the weight returns. That familiar heaviness in your chest, like an invisible chain tightening around your ribs. You grab your phone. You scroll. Mindlessly. Mechanically. Anything to avoid facing the void. Minutes dissolve. Then hours. You tell yourself, just one more video. Just a few more messages. I'll start after lunch. But lunch comes and goes. The sun moves across the sky. The light in your room changes. But you stay still. Trapped in a loop between guilt and distraction. Between anxiety and denial. You start making promises to yourself. At 3 p.m., I'll start. No, 4 p.m. Okay, after dinner. And as the day dies, so does your resolve. By the time night falls, you're left staring at the ceiling, staring at your own failure, the undone tasks, the unopened books, the messages you didn't reply, the workout you skipped, the dream you postponed again. And there, in that darkness, a second battle begins. The battle of self-hatred, of internal blame, of those corrosive thoughts that whisper, "You're useless. You'll never change. You're broken." But the tragedy is that you've been here before. This isn't the first wasted day. It won't be the last. You know the script by heart. It's a ritual, a dark, silent ritual. You kill your own time, then mourn it, then repeat it all over again the next day. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." But you're not even willing to look foolish, because that would require you to act, to start, to stumble, to fail in public. So you stay hidden, invisible, comfortably buried under your own fears. And here's the most brutal truth. It's not just time you're wasting. It's parts of yourself. Every wasted day is a small funeral for a version of you that could have existed. The strong you, the disciplined you, the courageous you, buried under layers of distraction, fear, and avoidance. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be different, but deep down, you don't believe it. Because change doesn't come from hope. It comes from friction, from resistance, from choosing in the middle of your weakness to act anyway. But today, once again, you didn't. And now, the day is gone. Irretrievable, irreversible, dead. And you're left with the cold, bitter silence of a life that keeps slipping through your fingers. One wasted day becomes a wasted week. Then a month, then a year, until one day you wake up and realize that you have wasted your life. Every time you choose to delay, something inside you dies. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, silently, like the fading ember of a fire left unattended. It's not a single catastrophic collapse. It's erosion,
slow, patient, cruel. You don't notice it happening, not at first. One skipped workout, one ignored task, one broken promise to yourself. You tell yourself it's nothing, that tomorrow you'll make up for it, that missing one day doesn't matter. And maybe one day really doesn't. But it's never just one day, is it? It's a pattern, a slow bleeding of your own integrity. Every decision to avoid, every moment you choose comfort over commitment, every time you look at your goals and turn away, you lose a piece of yourself, a piece of your discipline, a piece of your self-respect, a piece of the man you were meant to become. It's death by 1,000 cuts, small, invisible, but cumulative. You wake up one morning and realize you've become a stranger to yourself. You look in the mirror and there's no fire behind your eyes, just exhaustion and disappointment. Epictetus said, "First, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." You say you want to change. You say you want discipline. You say you want to build a better life. But your actions tell a different story. A story of hesitation, of avoidance, of surrender. You scroll through motivational videos. You write to-do lists you never follow. You set alarms, you snooze. You make plans, you abandon. And each time you do, you reinforce the same identity, the man who doesn't follow through. You become the architect of your own weakness. And the worst part? No one sees this decay but you. The world moves on. Your friends don't notice. Your family assumes you're fine. But inside, you know. You carry the weight of all the things you didn't do. All the hours you wasted. All the promises you broke. It sits there like a stone in your chest, heavy, cold. And over time, you stop dreaming. You stop setting goals. You stop believing in yourself altogether. You tell yourself it's safer that way, that lowering your expectations will protect you from disappointment. But it doesn't. It just guarantees a slow, bitter death of potential. Because here's the truth. Every small failure to act becomes part of a larger story of regret. And regret is a ghost that never leaves. It follows you, haunts you, whispers in your ear when you're lying in bed at night. You could have been more. You could have tried. You could have fought back. But you didn't. And now, here you are. Alive, but not living. Breathing, but not moving. Existing, but not becoming. Epictetus reminds us, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? And that's the question you've been avoiding. For years, for months, for too many wasted days. You want a different life? You want to reclaim your soul from this slow death? Then understand this. It won't come with comfort. It won't come with waiting. It won't come with more thinking. It starts with a decision. A brutal, clear, uncompromising decision to stop feeding the decay. To stop letting yourself die one small piece at a time. Because if you don't, there's only one destination left. A life you'll look back on and mourn. A graveyard of dreams built by your own hands.
There will never be a perfect moment. No magical alignment of stars. No sudden surge of energy that makes everything easy. You keep waiting for clarity, for motivation, for confidence. But none of these come before action. They're forged inside the fire. And the fire is discomfort, fear, doubt, pain. The first step is always through the flames. You will feel resistance. Your body will fight. Your mind will scream. Every part of you will beg for escape. You'll hear voices inside saying, "Not today. It's too hard. What's the point?" But that's the exact moment where change begins. Not when it's easy, not when you feel strong, but when everything inside you wants to stop. Epictetus wrote, "Difficulties are things that show a person who they are." And right now, you don't know who you are. Not yet. Because identity isn't found in thoughts, or in intentions, or in plans. It's carved in action, in sweat, in discipline. The first cold shower, the first page written at 3 a.m., the first rep at the gym when your arms shake, the first difficult conversation you've avoided for years. These moments, these small acts of rebellion against your own weakness, are where the new version of you begins to emerge. It won't be beautiful. It won't be perfect. It will be raw, messy, uncomfortable. You will stumble. You will doubt yourself. You will want to quit after 5 minutes. But none of that matters, because for the first time, you're choosing to move. You're choosing friction over comfort, effort over escape, courage over fear. And here's something you must understand. The fire will never go away. Discomfort is permanent. Struggle is permanent. But you get stronger. Your threshold expands. What once felt unbearable becomes normal, then easy, then instinctive. And that's how men are built. Not by waiting, not by hoping, but by walking, step by step, through the fire. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly, and your transformation will not happen overnight. You will face setbacks. You will fall. You will relapse into old patterns. But each time, you get back up. You stare into the flame again, and you step forward. Because the alternative is to stay where you are, in the numbness, in the regret, in the slow, quiet decay. And that is a death far worse than any temporary pain. This is the price of freedom. This is the cost of reclaiming yourself. It begins with one step, one action, one defiant choice to do the thing you fear the most. Even if your hands shake, even if your mind resists, even if everything inside you screams to stop, you do it anyway. Because deep down, beneath the doubt, beneath the fear, you know you were not born to live like this. You were meant to rise, to fight, to burn. And the time is now.
Discipline is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It's not something that suddenly appears after you watch enough motivational videos. Discipline is a slow, painful construction. Brick by brick, day by day, in silence, in solitude, in discomfort. You build it by showing up, especially when you don't want to, especially when your body screams to stop, especially when your mind whispers 1,000 excuses. It's not about grand gestures. It's not about doing something heroic once a month. It's about consistency, repetition, the quiet, almost invisible battles you fight with yourself every morning. You wake up and choose discipline. You sit down and choose focus. You feel fear and choose action. Over and over again.
until it becomes who you are. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And that's the core of discipline. It's not about talking. It's not about making plans. It's about execution. Brutal, relentless, unromantic execution. Some days, you'll hate it. You'll hate every second of it. You'll drag yourself through the motions with zero motivation, with zero energy, but you'll do it anyway. Because discipline is not about feeling good, it's about doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. You'll have days where everything flows, where the work feels light, where your body responds, where your mind is sharp. But those days are rare. They're a bonus, not the standard. The standard is struggle. You'll wake up tired. You'll feel uninspired. You'll crave distractions. You'll want to quit. And that's where the choice happens, in that fragile, silent moment between quitting and continuing. You'll stare at the cold water before stepping into the shower. You'll sit in front of a blank page before writing the first word. You'll stand outside the gym debating whether to enter. And in that instant, everything hangs in the balance. You either choose weakness or you choose discipline. Every day, that decision repeats itself dozens of times. And with each right choice, you lay another brick. You reinforce the foundation. You become unshakable, not because you're fearless, but because you've proven to yourself over and over that you act regardless of fear. Discipline rewires your mind. It teaches your body to obey. It silences the inner critic, not with words, but with action. You don't argue with yourself anymore. You don't negotiate with comfort. You simply execute. And slowly, something changes inside you. Your posture shifts. Your voice deepens. Your gaze hardens. You stop looking for external validation. You stop waiting for permission. You stop fearing failure. Because discipline becomes your armor. And when the world throws chaos at you, when life collapses, when everything falls apart, you remain unmoved, unbreakable, focused, because you've built brick by brick the discipline that will save you. Epictetus reminds us, control thyself. That's the law. That's the path. That's the difference between the man you are and the man you could become. And now, the only question left is, are you willing to pay the price?
There comes a moment when thinking is no longer enough, when planning becomes a form of escape, when analyzing turns into paralysis. You've spent years inside your own head, fantasizing about change, writing goals, watching others live the life you say you want. But none of that makes you the man you could be. Because the man you want to become is not a thinker. He's not a dreamer. He's a man of action. A man who moves while others hesitate, who executes while others doubt, who rises while others wait. Becoming that man will cost you. It will cost your comfort. It will cost your distractions. It will cost the false safety of staying small. You will lose things along the way. Sleep, social approval, temporary pleasures. But in return, you will gain something far greater: self-respect, inner power, freedom. Epictetus said, freedom is the reward of discipline. And that's what this is all about. Not productivity hacks, not morning routines, not motivational speeches, but freedom. The kind of freedom that comes when you know that you can trust yourself, that you do what needs to be done, that you don't break when things get hard. You'll stop waiting for the right mood. You'll stop chasing validation. You'll stop fearing discomfort. Instead, you'll embrace it. You'll start looking at resistance, not as an enemy, but as a signal, a compass,
pointing you toward the work that matters. You'll train yourself to lean into the friction, to move even when it hurts, to act without permission, because that's what separates men who build from men who decay. Action. Consistent, relentless, uncompromising action. You won't feel ready. You won't feel confident. You'll feel scared, unprepared, inadequate, and you'll act anyway. That's the threshold. That's the transformation. The day you stop negotiating with your weakness, the day you stop giving power to your excuses, the day you take ownership fully of your time, your energy, your life. You'll feel the shift in your posture, in your voice, in the way you look people in the eye. Because deep down, you'll know, I am becoming the man who acts. The kind of man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, who doesn't run. Not because he's fearless, but because he's decided, I will move no matter what. Epictetus reminds us, don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish them to happen as they happen, and you will go on well. In other words, stop wishing for easy conditions. Stop waiting for the perfect setup. The conditions you have now are the conditions you need. Right here, right now. In this mess, in this uncertainty, in this pain. This is your battlefield. And from this moment forward, there's only one command you need to follow. Act. Again, and again, and again, until action becomes your nature, until hesitation feels foreign, until every cell in your body remembers that you are no longer a man who waits, but a man who moves.
There comes a day when the mirror stops being just glass and reflection and starts becoming a judgment, a verdict. You look at yourself and the truth hits harder than any external failure ever could, because deep down, you know exactly how much of your life you've let slip through your fingers. All the mornings wasted, all the plans abandoned, all the versions of you that could have existed but never did. And here's the part that burns the most. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no motivational speaker, no perfect opportunity, no future version of yourself descending from the sky to pull you out. Only you. You against you. That's the real fight. Epictetus wrote, "You carry a god within you, and you don't know it." You've spent years treating yourself like a victim, like someone powerless, waiting for permission, waiting for circumstances to change, waiting for fear to disappear. But fear won't leave. It stays, it follows, it grows until you face it. There is no path around the fire, only through. And this moment, right now, is the only invitation you'll get. The line has been drawn, the point of no return. You either rise or you sink deeper into distraction, into weakness, into a life half-lived. You can close this video, scroll to the next piece of meaningless content, lose yourself in dopamine, and forget everything you felt here. Or you can decide that this cycle ends here. That this is the last day you live at 50% of your potential. That this is the day you bury the version of yourself who waits, who hesitates, who makes excuses. You don't need more time. You don't need more advice. You don't need more certainty. You need friction. You need discomfort. You need to bleed for your own rebirth, because discipline will not knock on your door. It's something you build inside the storm, inside the doubt, inside the fear. And the longer you wait, the colder and darker this life will become. There's a quote that should stay with you long after this ends. While you procrastinate, life slips away. So what now? Another wasted day? Another promise broken? Another dream postponed? Or today, do you finally move? You choose. And understand this. No choice
is still a choice, and silence is just another way of saying, I surrender.